The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. Time now for the Paranormal View. The Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network with your host, Henry Foister, Craig Rupp, and Jeffrey Gould. The Paranormal View.
Welcome everybody to the Paranormal View right here on the Para X Radio Network. And I tell you, we've got a big crowd here in the chat room. And no matter where you're listening from around the world, if you're not in with us, you can do so by coming over to para-x.com. Click on live chat at the top of the page. And you'll be in here with all these wonderful people. You'll be able to ask questions of the guest. You can private chat myself or Craig Rupp or Jeffrey Gould with the questions, and we'll get them right over to the guest. We have a great guest tonight. Everybody's going to really enjoy tonight. Also, I want to thank everybody, no matter where you're listening from, because I know we have a lot of people from around the world, and I will look and see exactly where we got listeners from. So until then, it comes
a big
up.
shout out to all our friends in, let me get this right, Melbourne, Australia.
All right.
Arvo.
Melbourne, Australia. That's good. Tonight we have guests from the United States, Australia, Finland, Mexico, and Germany. So welcome everybody. I hope you enjoy the show. If you like the show, you can go to theparanormalview.com. That's our website. And there's a big fan. You can go to that, leave us a message, whether you like the show, don't like the show, and let us know that you're a fan. We appreciate that. So we've got tonight, we got with us Kat Klockow, and she has a book called Haunted Hoosier Halls of Indiana University, which is only a hop, skip, and a jump away from here. And we're going to have her come on and talk about that. And I want to welcome you, Kat. And I want to say, Ohio Gozaimasu.
Ohio gozaimasu. Hi, Henry, Craig, and Jeffrey.
Welcome, Kat, to the show.
Hi.
Welcome.
It's great to be here.
You've done a lot of stuff, but you also do urban legends.
Yeah, I do.
So why don't you, before we actually get into everything, why don't you tell everyone about yourself, what all you do, and go from there.
Alrighty. Well, hi everyone in the chat room and listening live. My name is Kat Klockow, and I am also known as the Urban Legends Detective, thus my email or my web address. I'm a I graduated from Indiana University with a major in East Asian Language and Culture Studies and Japanese. I used to live in Japan from 2004 to 2005, and I also graduated with a major in anthropology. So if you guys remember me from 2 weeks back with John Sable, I was in the chat room under Cat K explaining some of the terms that John was using, because he uses long words. I love him, but he uses long words.
John's great, isn't he?
Yeah. I met him a few years ago at the Ohio Paracon. We just had long talk about anthropology and ghosts. But at any rate, I love urban legends, and I love how people deal with the dead. And that is what powers me through this paranormal community that we have.
Well, now, I guess I do want to say that tonight we do have with us Craig Rupp. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. And we got Jeffrey Gould.
Yes, I'm right here.
And he's here. So we have everybody here tonight.
Woo!
Plus all the fans listening from around the world. We appreciate you. I guess one of the things that I wanted to jump right into was you have been to a lot of these places. How did you get started into the paranormal?
I got started when I was 9, and I started collecting just local paranormal books, like the one that I wrote about just any place that I visited. My first book was Ghosts of Ohio by Chris Woodyard, and she has a series like 1 through 7 or so about just haunted locations in Ohio, because I was actually born in Cleveland and grew up in South Bend, Indiana, and just started buying books from anywhere in between those two places. What got me really started on it was I saw a full-bodied apparition when I was 9 of my grandfather. And I didn't know what I saw, and I started seeing these books around Halloween, and I started buying them. And now my personal library has over 200 books about specific locations, not just in the United States, but I have ones from Paris and London and Japan. And I just love reading them all. And when I moved here to Cincinnati, the first thing I did was headed on to my local bookseller, found Ghosts of Cincinnati, or Cincinnati Ghosts by Schiffer Publishing, and picked that up, and they happened to be hiring for writers, and that's how I ended up writing Haunted Hoosier Halls.
Well, good. There's a ton of stuff. It's a great book.
I'm still waiting for mine. I ordered it, but it's not there as of today. I was very.
Is that right?
I'm with you, Jeffrey. I didn't get mine either, so
I
we're in
ordered
the same
mine
boat, buddy.
Thursday, and
I am so sorry about Amazon. We've had the hardest time keeping it stocked, the book.
Is that right?
Oh, that's a terrible thing. I hate when they run out of it, that they sell out of your book. How terrible it is.
That's terrible for you, Kat.
That's like my days are spent doing movie shoots and commercial auditions. That would be terrible for me.
Okay, that didn't come out any way, shape, or form I meant it to.
Well, now, of all Indiana University, from the way that I looked at it, it's pretty good size.
Oh yeah, IU.
Yeah. Now, of all the places that you've got in the book, did you get to go to all of them, or you just wrote them down with urban legend that people told you stories about?
I have been to all of them spare Rain Tree House, which is in the back of the book as one of the investigations that Indiana Ghost Trackers let me, with their permission, they let me look through that particular investigation, just as an example of what they do for business investigations. And Rain Tree House is a part of Indiana University, however, it's not actually on the campus. But all the other locations, Whispers Estate, the cemetery that's labeled just Cemetery X, I've been to multiple times, Spring Mill Cemetery. There are more than just cemeteries in this book, folks. And of course, the buildings on campus I went to a lot. There's the student building that has the student building swimmer on the first floor, which is an apparition said to be swimming through the floor. Mm-hmm. And I basically lived in that building because that's the anthropology building.
Now you did go to school there too.
Yes, I graduated there in 2007. So,
now, while you were there, Sarah, did you see any of the things that you've written about yourself firsthand?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, cool.
3. Yeah. Let's see. Probably the strangest encounter. It's in the book. It's the very last story. It's the Phantom Legs on 3rd Street. And if you have the book, it's on page 187. I watched a pair of just legs and the lower part of the torso just appear out of nowhere, cross 3rd Street, across the street from where I was standing waiting to cross the street, and just walk just across, over, and then just vanished into thin air. I can tell you to this day it was wearing a pair of those super tight, uber washed jeans, like they have been,
right,
like what college students have been wearing nowadays. And then there's this black and white acid wash, and they were wearing these Van tennis shoes, just the slip-ons with that checkerboard design, and it had a black hardware belt. It was a very much of a punk torso, just that punk clothing. And What's interesting about that particular intersection, it's East 3rd Street and Jordan Avenue, which has a convenience store, a Chinese restaurant, and a small strip mall there, my apartment building, and then the School of Music. And that's all that's on that intersection corners. That particular intersection has had so many accidents there. And some people think that maybe it's because they're seeing ghosts there. Maybe it's the ghosts of those accident victims haunting there. I don't really know. It's a kind of a chicken and the egg type of problem. But it was really startling. And I saw it around midnight when I was doing a Mountain Dew run to the convenience store.
You sure they weren't just a pair of pants that really needed washing?
It could have been that. But
my mother always used to say that these pants need to be washed so badly they could stand by themselves.
Yeah. Well, I owned a pair of jeans similar to them, which is why I recognized them. And my mom always told me to throw them out because they were damaged.
They were looking for you.
Yeah, apparently.
Now, I haven't got a chance to read the book, Kat, but have you done any research on maybe a female or a male that was killed in that intersection, perhaps?
I know for a fact there was a female and a male killed in early 2007. They were hit by a drunk driver when they were in their Jeep, and they died just about 100 yards away from that intersection. They were hit in the intersection, spun out, and hit a brick wall. So, right in front of a sorority house where the girl, ironically, was a member of. So, and just a few weeks after that, a girl in that same sorority house died of a heart attack, I believe, in her sleep.
Wow.
So, and she wasn't discovered for a few hours into the day. So, yeah, that's
crazy.
a charming discovery, but yeah. So I know of at least 3 deaths that happened within a few yards of this intersection.
Now, you said you was waiting to cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
I bet
Yeah.
it didn't take you very long to get across the street then, did it?
No. No. And what was also strange was there was an Asian couple that was next to me, and I believe they were Chinese. It's the Asian languages I pick up on what they're speaking. But at any rate, they never noticed this pair of legs walking across the street.
Were they looking in that direction?
Yeah, because we were waiting to cross this road, and because of the drunk drivers that and the kids that like to what is that, street race, because it's a straight
Right.
street.
Yeah.
You don't want to cross it when you don't have the lights because you may end up dead. So
They end up
they
just
never
being a
saw
pair
it.
of pants.
yeah, it could just be that. But I
Well,
remember
I was
Sorry.
going to say at least they were an adult pair of pants. If it was a child's pair of pants, at least you wouldn't have to worry about trying to hold its hand.
that's true. I have held spectral children's hands before, but yeah, that was for the movie I was in last year.
What
Now-
movie was that?
It's Ghost Stories 4, directed by Dan T. Hall, and I was in a place called Black Moon Manor, which is supposed to be notoriously haunted. And besides being infested by raccoons and possums, there seems to be something spectral that likes to hold women's hands.
Ooh.
I love raccoons and possums. I used
Oh.
to do animal control for years.
Well, they're living in the old ductwork in that house, and they gave me a good scare. Nothing like looking down one of the old wrought iron vents and seeing this raccoon peering up at you, and you're like, "Oh, hello there! Don't kill me with your rabies."
Now, are you in a group, or you just tag along with people that invite you?
I tag along with a lot of different groups, but I am a member of Indiana Ghost Trackers Southeast Central chapter, which used to be known as Bloomington, and I've been working with Indiana Ghost Trackers since 2007. So they're the ones that trained me, but I've also worked with a number of other paranormal teams, which I gave a shout out to in the book. I actually worked with 5. Let me look for them. I worked with IGT, Shadows of Indiana, Hoosier Paranormal Research, the Phantom Tribe, and MRIPA, which is a wonderful acronym for Midwestern Researchers and Investigators of Paranormal Activity. And by the way, they have the most awesome pimped out paranormal car anyone has ever seen.
Pimped out.
It is so pimped out.
Do they have a website that you can see it on?
Yeah, if you go to mripa.com, I believe, they have their little, or it's not little, I think it's an Aztec, but it has all these, it has all these green lights and just their name put on the side of the car, and it looks like a disco truck, basically. But their website is www.mripa.net. And you can say hi to Jason.
Say hi to Jason, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now,
I have a question from the chat room, Kat.
go ahead.
This kind of pertains to your situation with you and the Chinese couple that were on the street that night. Do you have a spirit guide, and do you ever see her? This is from Sky. Do you think that, now this question is for me, do you think if you do have a spirit guide, that is why you saw the apparition and the other couple didn't?
I don't know. That's actually a really good question. And I did have an imaginary friend named Sam when I was really little that tended to stay around longer than imaginary friends usually do. And that could be what it is. I like to attribute it to maybe my relatives that have passed away have absolutely no qualms letting me know they're still around. It's a very Asian mentality, I guess you can say, because they honor the spirits of their dead relatives. But that's what I like to think it is. It's my family saying, you don't need to be afraid of the other side. We're quite friendly over here. So when I go out ghost hunting, I treat any spirits, just, I guess you could say human spirits, as just, I'm visiting them. I'm just saying hi. I like to socialize with them. I treat them like people, basically.
Now, your book, the way that you have the different stories in it, you list what the haunting history is, and then you go through the tales about the paranormal with it, and then when you get to the end, you kind of sum everything up by you calling it reflections, which is really good. It's a real good book. I really like it. So everybody, you can go to Amazon.com and you can order it.
I'm sending the link even now.
That sounds like a winner. See, that's why I have such good co-hosts.
Woohoo!
And you may have to wait because we're still waiting.
I don't know why you guys are
I'm
waiting.
sorry about that, guys.
That's not your fault.
Work so fast.
I ordered mine Thursday and got it Friday.
Wow. Well, you actually paid for postage, though, right?
Yes, I did.
Because I ordered her book and a book of another future guest at the same time, so it was over $25. So I got the free they're going to walk it from their warehouse postage thing.
No, if I could get that, the waving all that and shipping it right to you if I wanted to do the $73 a year, but I don't know if I'm going to be using it that much to pay that kind of a fee. So I'll just, if I can't get them from a local bookstore, then I'll go to Amazon. But generally, if I have something like that, I can go to one of the locals and get it. But
yeah.
Kat, by the way, Kindle.
Oh.
When I ordered my book, it said, tell the author that Kindle is available. So
And I tell people, tell Schiffer to get it onto Kindle. There's a few people who have come up to me at conventions I've attended, and they're saying, hey, how about a Kindle version? And I'm like, I have no control over that. Schiffer does. It would be nice. I own my own Kindle. I love it, but...
Okay.
I always wonder why they would name a book-related thing after something you would start a fire.
I never thought about that.
Now, if you've got questions for Kat, you can private chat myself or Craig or Jeffrey with it. Or if you'd like to, and I would be having to try and do it again, you can call in. We have a number, 513-988-8055. So with that, you do have a lot of different stories in the book. I want to spend a little time and talk about some of the ones with that. But before I get into that, you do know that the area that you're living in, there is all kinds of urban legends around here.
I know. I love it.
That's what she writes about.
That's what I mean. So are you thinking of writing a book about the urban legends around Cincinnati?
I would love to. I'd love to write about urban legends anywhere in the United States, but it just... I will be honest, with Schiffer Publishing, what my job is to write about the Big Ten colleges.
Oh.
Which now they've added even more into the conference, so I even have more books that I could potentially write about. And I just started with Indiana University because that's my alma mater, I guess you could say. And it also was the place I started with the first folklore department. But I would love to go up to Northwestern because they started the anthropology departments here in America at the turn of the century. So I'm sure they're full of information too.
Wow. Well, now there's also lots of places around here that are haunted, because I only live right up the road from you. I live up in Trenton.
That's right, you do.
Yes. There's some places that we go to in downtown Hamilton called Ryan's Tavern. That's even been on the news, so that place is haunted. So.
Well, this is strange. Even though I've lived here in Cincinnati for nearly 3 years, I've never, other than the Cincinnati Music Hall, I have not actually gone on a ghost hunt or paranormal investigation in any building. I've always been in Indiana, or I went to Mansfield, Ohio for the reformatory. That's it.
Well, now they're due to have another, what they call the ghost tour, at Ryan's sometime this month. I'll find out what the date is if you'd like to go, and I'll set it up, and you can go over there. I'll go with you and introduce you to triops. And I do know they're setting it up now, though, instead of just the 2 or 3 hour thing that they do on that little ghost tour thing. They're setting it up to where you can do like a 6 hour investigation, I think it is. They're going to start having those.
That would be fantastic if I could join you.
Okay, I'll let you know when we're going to do that. And there's a couple.
I'm still waiting, Kat.
Well, you guys listen.
To come out, and I'm still waiting. So
you guys are welcome to come anytime you want. I'll even send you the next time they're going to be doing that. And this spring we're going to be doing an old paper mill up here in Middletown. So I'll let you know. That's supposed to be really haunted up there. So with that, let's jump into the book, because we're going to be taking a break here shortly, so maybe we can get a couple of these gone through. Just remember, though, if you'd like to join us, if you're not here in the chat room, come over to para-x.com, click on live chat, and you'll be right in here with all these wonderful folks, and you'll be able to interact and ask questions through a private message to myself, Jeffrey, or Craig. And with that, you had, I guess it's probably one of the first stories in the book about the ghost tower.
Okay.
What is all happening with the ghost tower?
Okay. Indiana's Ghost Tower chapter is about the Indiana Memorial Union, which is one of the largest student union buildings in America. For a long time, they were the world's largest, but I believe Texas A&M may have beat us out. But it's 500,000 square feet of ghostly terror, if you believe the janitors that work at night. So there's a bowling alley, there's a food court, there's the Biddle Hotel, which is attached to it, and it is a beautiful and yet very creepy place to be at night. It's built, it kind of looks like a castle from far away, because it has the West Tower, which a lot of people have decided to end their lives off of. So
you mean like trying to fly without a parachute?
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
And there's actually 2 residual specters that have been seen few years apart. One's a female, one's a male. The female likes to scream as she's going down.
Really?
And she disappears right before hitting the stone patio. The male is a shadow man, or a shadow specter, who's very quiet. And students who just happen to look up kind of see him almost hitting them.
Is that
he
right?
just disappears.
Now, have you actually interviewed people that has actually seen this?
No, that's the funny part, is the Indiana Daily Student, which is the student newspaper, they have had people who swear they've seen these things, but they remained nameless. So it starts to become a part of urban legend because it becomes a friend of a friend motif, which is what urban legends are largely based on. Somebody has heard it from somebody else, but the actual source remains nameless or unknown. So it's creepy. It's when you're staring up at the West Tower. I don't want to think about it, but of course I write ghost or research ghost stories, so I do think about it and kind of imagine something falling down at me. But on a creepier note, I actually did watch a suicide attempt happen off of Ballantine Hall in 2004.
Wow.
So
did
the
they
man
actually
lived.
jump, or did they save him?
They saved him. He jumped out of the 8th floor. He took a chair through a window and then jumped through the window, but he hit a north door canopy that had gravel over or on the roof, and the gravel just cushioned the impact. He broke both his legs.
Right.
He didn't walk away from it,
Wow.
but he did survive.
More like a crawl.
From
Yeah.
from 8 floors. That's
Kind
pretty
of
good.
like an egg spatula'd him up out of
That's a
there.
long way down.
Yeah, but
Well, now the Ghost Tower was that the same one that's considered the suicide tower?
no, that's Eigenmann. But we actually have 3. There's Ballantine Hall, there's the Indiana Memorial Union, which is the Ghost Tower, and then there's Eigenmann Tower, which is one of the first air-conditioned student halls on the campus. It's actually the location of the only murder on Indiana University's campus to have taken place. But the Indiana Ghost Tower, the IMU, Indiana Memorial Union, was built in the 30s. And the Biddle Hotel, which is the west side of that building, the east side of that building, was built in the 1960s. And both sides of the buildings are notoriously haunted. And the Indiana Memorial Union is right next to Dunn Cemetery, which has been there even before Indiana University's campus existed. And we have a ghost dog and a spectral man that have been seen wandering between this huge monstrosity of a building and this tiny little pioneer cemetery.
And that's right in the cemetery, isn't that the one that's in the center of the campus?
Yeah, it throws a lot of guests for a loop, especially since the hotel is right next to it. So if you happen to have one of the east-facing hotel rooms, you look right into the cemetery.
Cool.
You guys got any other questions right off?
Off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Trent wants to know if you have ever been to the Willard Library.
I have not yet. Evansville is not where I've driven nearby. Unfortunately, I haven't been anywhere near Evansville in recent years. But usually I'm going north up to Indianapolis and South Bend. But I want to go to Willard Library. I've wanted to go there since I was 11.
Have you looked at the ghost cam on their site?
I have. I saw a lot of dust.
Oh, that's orbs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
It's very haunted. Orbs.
Yes, all the
Dust.
dust mites.
Floating
The
around.
dust mites of years past. Anyway.
Well, the place is just, the chat room is just totally filled out. I don't know if we can cram some more in there or not.
I can't keep
but-
up with it.
But please please do, if you're not in here, come over and join us. I think what we're going to do is go ahead and take a quick break. I know it's already flown by. And when we come back, we'll pick it back up. And hopefully you guys will have a whole bunch more questions by then. I'm still not.
I do.
Yeah, I'm still not done with a half page yet. So we're.
Oh wow!
If you do have a question,
I have to say one word.
Go ahead.
Arvo.
What? I don't even know what word that was.
Yeah, what'd you say?
It's Arvo. It's afternoon in Australia.
Oh, there you go.
I just caught heck because I didn't say it, but Arvo, everyone. So.
You know, Rusty O'Neill that's in the chat room is from Australia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Rusty.
That's where his show originates from.
Good day, mate.
Oh.
Yep. Sure
yeah.
is.
Hi, Rusty. Good afternoon.
With that, we're going to jump out and take a quick break. And Craig, why don't you take us out?
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. We will be back in just a few minutes.
Don't go away. The Paranormal View will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the ParaX Radio Network. Just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Such a great crowd. And if you're listening from somewhere else around the world, please come over, para-x.com, click on live chat. It'll put you right in this room with all these wonderful people. You'll be able to interact with us on questions, asking of Kat. You can private chat Craig or Jeff or myself, and we'll get those questions right to them. Or you can call 513-988-8055. Now, I got another announcement that I want to let everybody know about. I don't even think I've told Jeff this yet. I'm not sure if I told Craig or not, but we now also have another person that's going to be helping us out on the Paranormal View, and that person is going to be doing a little segment every week on a paranormal group of the week, and that's going to be, you can say hi and welcome, Irish Eyes. She is going to be doing it.
Yay, little pet.
Yay, Irish!
So
Irish!
That's probably going to be in a week or two before she gets started on it, but she's going to be helping us out on doing that.
Cool.
So, with that, let's jump right back in because we have... now, did you say your last name was Klockow?
Klockow.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know why
like
I said Klockow, but it's Klockow. I just want
Most
to get that
people
right.
say Klockow.
Okay. Well, I want to say it the right way, so... I
was great back when I met my husband and said, "Oh, hi, Mike Klockow," and he just gave me the dirtiest look, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" Because it's a funny German name. I don't blame people for saying Klockow. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But it's pronounced Klockow.
Klockow.
Okay, we have tonight with us Kat Klockow, and we're talking about her book, Haunted Hoosier Halls in Indiana University, which is a great book, and we'll be giving you all kinds of information on where to get it later, and all about her website and things that she's going to be doing coming up and all the other good stuff later. Let's get back to it because we was talking about some of these towers.
Yeah, the spooky towers.
Yes.
We were talking about the Indiana Memorial Union, which is the biggest building on the entire campus, and it is also filled with the most ghosts I think I've heard any building slight of the Mansfield Reformatory being filled with. Basically, this building, the IMU, is open from 6 a.m. till 1 a.m., and the janitorial staff and the maintenance workers work between 2 and 6 to make sure this place is clean every day. And from a few that I talked to and a few that I've read about from interviews that they've given to newspapers, the most creepy things happen during the time between 2 and 6 a.m., naturally, because those are the witching hours. For one, we have the Bryan Room, which is at the very top of the West Tower, and its lights refuse to turn off. One janitor was quoted in, I believe, the Bloomington Herald-Times, which is the Bloomington, Indiana newspaper, for saying that they had just finished cleaning up the Bryan Room, which is now staff offices, and they taken the elevator down the 7 floors, and they got out. They were in the parking lot across the street from the IMU. They knew they had turned off the lights. They had the keys in their hands for the lights, and there they were on, bright as day. All the lights in the Bryan Room were on. There's also a elevator that usually one takes to go up to the Bryan Room, and it always stops on the 5th floor. It doesn't need to be prompted. Men who work on elevators, the guys that fix them when they get stuck and whatnot, have diagnosed and tried to figure out what's wrong, and the elevator is not programmed just to stop on the 5th floor, but it keeps doing it, and the doors open, the doors close, and it goes from the 5th back down to the 1st. Unprompted.
Well, here's
it's really creepy.
Well, here's a question, Kat. It's a random question. How would one apply for a janitorial position there?
I have no idea.
Well, I want that job. That would be a great part-time job.
I would assume one would look at the spot openings on the Indiana University website for staff.
I'm there.
Yeah, it's a very pretty building. The most notorious ghost to inhabit it is known as Jacob. And he haunts the Tudor Room, which actually is a restaurant run by all the students who are doing hotel and restaurant management, that major. It's a beautiful restaurant that you need a reservation to get into. And it is decorated in medieval tapestries, authentic medieval tapestries. And what's a little bit odd about this particular room, however, is you have all these medieval suits of armor, the tapestries, other decorations, and then they have a painting, an oil painting, that depicts a little, I always think he looks like a little Amish boy next to a jack-o'-lantern. And it's by 𝘗𝘢𝘳𝘢𝘯𝘮𝘢. I can never pronounce that man's name. And the little boy is wearing dark blue overalls. They could be denim, and he's wearing, I believe, a straw hat. And there's an urban legend attached to this painting that the boy's name is Jacob, and he died in a fire roughly the same day that the painter finished that painting. And now his spirit is attached to this painting, and he haunts the Tudor Room. I don't know if that's true or false, but that tends to be the legend that's attached to that painting. Well, little Jacob...
Maybe it was just framed.
Maybe.
Oh, you got to watch Jeff, because he's quick with those.
And he's the quickest typer I've ever seen in my life. You say something, it's in the chat room. Bam!
Yep.
Yeah.
He is good.
Anyway, the staff moved the tapestries out of the Tudor Room, and almost immediately Jacob just threw a fit. He threw tables around. All the place settings, every night they would place the place settings down for the next day's service. And staff would come in, and it was all askew, which is really weird since it would be locked. Chairs would be amuck, and also people experience cold spots and sometimes hear things. So I did talk to a man who was an alumni and used to work there as a waiter, and he said he hated doing after dinner service because they always felt like they were being watched. What's also weird is just outside the tutor room there is a spirit of a pregnant woman that tends to walk up and down this hallway, and I have never heard of a pregnant ghost. Have you?
No, that's what I was getting ready to. Is it like a full body
It's
apparition?
a full-bodied apparition.
Looks like
She's
a regular person,
transparent.
not misty.
Actually, it'd be more like a full body and a half apparition.
Yeah,
Right.
I guess so, yeah. But she's fairly rare to run into, but a few students and staff have run into her, and she's walking up and down, and she looks all worried, like she can't figure out which direction she needs to go. And when people go up to her to ask if she needs help, she just up and vanishes, just poof. So
this is on the university grounds?
yes, this is the Indiana Memorial Union. The huge.
So maybe it's a trimester semester.
Oh, jeez.
Or she was looking for a womb with a view. I don't know.
Well, Kat, tell us about the Reed Hall Girl in Yellow. That sounds very interesting.
Oh, you can't be a student at Indiana University without getting the willies scared out of you at Reed Hall. Reed Hall, beautiful building, normal X shape, is home to a very creepy girl in yellow who haunts not only the basement but also the third floor. And this is a popular legend. I used to live across the way my apartment building looked at Reed Hall, and I had a few friends that lived there. But anyway, the story goes that there was a girl with beautiful black hair and a pre-med student, and they were dating. And the pre-med student, who is always nameless, lived on the third floor. And these two were that really hot on and off again type of couple. They're like very volatile, and then they have great makeouts after fights.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, at any rate. The student body just kind of
then.
kept away from them. So moving on. Anyway, so there was a social dance, and the girl wore this full yellow dress. And in the middle of this, the couple got into a heated argument and stormed out of this party. And they go up to his third floor dormitory room. I don't know why they're in there. I play naive. And and the argument continues to the point where this pre-med student decides that it's a great idea to grab a scalpel and start kind of...
Go all Dexter on him?
Yeah, exactly. To the point where he even saved her face as a souvenir and stuck it in his sock drawer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone knows that you go into the... Oh, I don't even have a joke for that. I'm sorry.
But at any rate, he takes her body. I don't know how miraculously no students noticed this not even decapitated, faceless, bloody corpse being carried by a pre-med student down to the basement. He stuffs her in the tunnels underneath the basement and pretends that nothing happened. Well, the girl had friends, and they missed her, and they called the cops reporting her missing, and it didn't take too long for them to find him, find her body, and find her face in a sock drawer. So, as legend goes, he was tried and found guilty and either sent to the local jail, or if we really want to get spooky, he went to the Indiana State Mental Hospital, which is another one of those, one of the documentaries that Dan Hall did, actually. He went and ghost hunted in this huge old, basically abandoned mental hospital in the middle of Indianapolis, Indiana. The girl, however, although her body was found, her face was found, her spirit decided to stay in the dormitory. And to this day, students still report electrical interferences, lights going on and off, their stereos or their computer speakers getting blasted onto high without them touching it. Some people have sworn they have run into this faceless apparition floating down the hallway. a la The Ring, kind of all bloody and gross. Some people have.
The Ring didn't actually have her face off.
Yeah, and she crawled. That was a bad horror movie to equate it to, but I'm not a horror movie person, so I don't know what else. But at any rate, she's been spotted in the basement. She's been blamed for foul smells in the basement, which I don't actually think she's anything to do with that, but whatever.
Well, originally she was.
Yeah, originally. But
That's
this is
how they found her.
But this is the weird thing, is that there are all these ghost stories about her, but most of the ghostly activity actually happens on the 6th floor, which also has its own ghost story. And that is Paula, the RA, who on December 12th, 1988, is said to have flung herself down the 6th floor steps, the stairwell, and died of a broken neck. And from that day on December 12th, every year, you can stand in the stairwell and hear her scream, and her body just hit the steps down until she died. I've done that. I've waited in the
jumped off the 6th floor?
No, I did not do that.
Oh.
Yes, this is a very elaborate EVP.
I tell you.
No, I've stood in the stairwell waiting for her. The funny thing is that no one knows exactly which stairwell it is, because there's 4 wings to the dormitory, and the legend never says
which one.
That's actually an urban legend, the story of Paula and the story of the girl in the yellow dress. Neither of them ever happened. But the weird thing is, people still see ghosts. I've had a friend who was taking Japanese with me who woke up one day at around 3 a.m. to find somebody using her restroom. And she had one of those shared suites where it was a single room, a shared bathroom, and another single room. The funny thing is, she had no suite mate. That room was permanently locked off. And somebody was in the shower. She could hear those splashing around like somebody was taking a shower. She opened the door, and the shower was off and dry, but she could hear it.
Wow.
And later that year, she woke up with a shadow person standing over her bed. And a different friend of mine actually happened to be studying and looked up and saw a shadow person standing at the threshold of his doorway into the hall.
But after a shower, was the cleanest shadow person ever.
Ever, yes. Shining. Just squeaky clean. But there is something up there on the 6th floor. It's just no one quite knows what.
Well, now, one of the questions I have, did you investigate any of these places, like take a recorder and try to get EVPs and stuff?
I have not. At the time I was living on campus, I wasn't actively pursuing the paranormal. I was just trying to get my homework done. So, pass math class. However, I know Indiana Ghost Tracker's Bloomington chapter has investigated some of the locations. I know they have investigated the Indiana Memorial Union, and they have also investigated the Career Development Center, which are the two of the biggest hotspots on campus. And it's interesting to note, and it's not really surprising, Indiana University doesn't like to give permission to ghost hunt a lot of these places.
Right.
So.
That's just like Oxford. Miami up at Oxford. There's some ghost stories about that place too, but they won't let anyone come on to investigate.
Yeah, I asked when I was writing the book many of my professors for help and assistance and leads, and they said, we would love to work with you, except for since you're not part of the university, we can't. So they were very polite about it. But right. I've actually been suggested many times to look into Miami University up at Oxford.
Yes. So did you guys have any other questions from the chat room?
I haven't. Not yet.
I have to wonder if they would stop so many campus ghosts. They shouldn't keep leaving around so many student bodies.
Ba-bum-ching.
Well, I have two I'd like to know about. It's not from the chat room, but Kat, could you tell us about the growling shadow dog and what takes place at the Crump Theater?
Ah, two excellent questions. The growling shadow dog is a specter, I guess you can say, that originates from Dunn Cemetery, which is the Dunn family cemetery right next to the Indiana Memorial Union. It has red glowing eyes. Sorry? What did you
I said I guess they were finished. Oh wait,
Yeah,
that's the wrong kind of Dunn, I guess.
It's DUNN. But any rate, the dog originates in that cemetery as red glowing eyes, and it's black and shadowy, kind of. I think it's called a black sulky, a Gaelic spectral dog, and my better half behind me is laughing at me. Anyway, sorry. At any rate, he's been said to actually enter the Indiana Memorial Union building and kind of walk behind some people, like janitors working at night. The dog doesn't seem to be an omen of anybody dying or any ill fate of anything. It just likes to appear and startle people. And the Crump Theater in Columbus, Indiana, very fascinating building. I've had the opportunity to ghost hunt in it 2 times.
Really?
So, yeah.
Did you get anything with it?
Yes, I've been poked.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a Facebook ghost.
Yeah, it was. I was down there, let's see, last February 20th, actually, almost exactly a year ago from today, give or take a week. I was there for the Paranormal Fest that they have at the Crump, and I was down investigating the basement with a couple members of the public who had paid to investigate the Crump Theater. And all we were doing was listening to one of the guests talk about how he investigates things, and I got the sharpest jab in the left shoulder blade that I have ever received. And I looked around me, and no one was next to me. Nothing could have poked me, and the girl, though, that was standing right behind me looked absolutely terrified. And I should say she was standing about 3 feet from me. She actually watched the indentation form on my sweatshirt.
Oh.
And she took a picture of my back, which kind of felt weird. This person randomly taking a picture of my back, but she explained that she watched it indent, and it looked like, I'm going to say yeah, it was about a radius of about 1 inch that pressed down and then let go. Took about 3 seconds.
So almost like a thumbprint?
Almost.
More like a press?
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
And you'd indicated being in the auditorium, because years ago, some friends of mine were swapping ghost stories, and they'd mentioned some Midwestern college. I don't know if it was in Indiana, and I can't remember the title of it, but they said that the auditorium building was so haunted that campus security would not go in after dark, even through the windows, if lights were flashing on and off and screams were heard inside, they wouldn't go in.
Oh, that's Notre Dame University.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. And
these people have no...
Go ahead.
Sorry?
They also said there was a little girl ghost, and someone went down to the cellar and tried provoking, and said, essentially dared it to do something, and the next thing you knew, he was waking up flat on his back on a table with all the contents of his pockets on his chest.
Wow.
It sounds like the Crump Theater, that with the little girl. There is a female spirit that is said to reside in the basement, but I haven't ever heard of her completely knocking somebody out.
Well, there were other entities, but she mentioned that there was like a girl ghost and that there were some other darker entities hanging out.
That almost sounds like the Crump Theater meets Whisper's Estate with the stories, because there's a little girl ghost and a fairly dark entity that resides in Whisper's Estate, which is also in my book, which the little girl's name is Rachel, but I don't know. it's hard to sometimes keep track with all the stories because not everyone publicizes their stories, so I can't always gather them together. So,
Jeffrey, are you sure you're not holding out on us? Because you know quite a bit about this without getting the book yet.
Well, no. The thing is I
think somebody's holding out on us.
Well, I have that story on my my paranormal webpage, my web section, where I have all kinds of ghost stories and such like that. And that one happens to be called Haunted University because I never found out what the title was. Now, I went to Ramapo State College in New Jersey, and that has some interesting ghosts in it, mostly in the registration hall, because that was the original mansion, and it was just simply called the mansion. It looks like Collinwood from Dark Shadows.
Huh.
And there are it's another case of the janitors who don't go in the cellar after dark. And my friend saw a full body apparition without realizing that was what they were seeing.
Oh.
It just looked like an old man entering the room, looking around and closing the door and going out. And they thought, because they had pressed a button that's on the side of the fireplace, and everybody sees it, and we all keep thinking, "Ooh, what does that do?" But we never want to touch it because we don't know if it's a fire alarm or it's going to bring, security.
Mm-hmm.
So they pressed it. They were there on a Sunday. They were allowed to be there to rehearse a scene they were doing. And somebody pressed it, and nothing happened. They're like, "Oh, okay." And they went back to rehearsing, and the doors opened. There was this old man with a long beard, just sort of looked in the room as though it was empty, closed the doors, and went out. And they're like, "Oh, God, it's probably a janitor who's going to get security. We have to tell him we're allowed to be in here." And they went running right out after him. No one was there because the building was empty. And it turned out they eventually found out that the button used to ring the chauffeur's quarters in the attic, and it's no longer connected. And that's who they saw.
Huh.
They had called the chauffeur to come down, and whatever time stream he was in, he was like, "Oh, no one here."
Huh. That's really cool. That's a fascinating story. Yeah, the hall at Notre Dame, which I said earlier, was, I believe it's called Washington Hall. And if you live in South Bend, that's a fairly well-known story because the ghost of the 𝘗𝘢 is also supposed to be there, the famous football player.
Right.
Coach. I've been corrected. It's a coach. Shows how much I know about football. I watched the Super Bowl for the commercials. Anyway.
Believe it or not, just to let you know, you're sitting here with one of the guys that his commercial was in the top 10 commercials for the Super Bowl.
It was. Last year it was like number 3. This year it was called Rest of the Best. It wasn't actually one of the top 10.
Oh, is that right?
But it aired.
I did see it,
I'll be
yes.
getting a check in a few weeks or months, which will help.
Yes.
I'll have to ask my other half about that because he looks into commercials. Anyway.
Did you watch the Super Bowl's greatest commercials last night on CBS?
No, I did not.
Well, we'll ask him if he remembers a commercial where a rhinoceros runs through an apartment and a postman is being chased by an ostrich. I'm the postman.
Oh, okay. I will do that at the next break. I am sure he's seen this.
So this is the ghost of Newt Rockney you're talking about?
No, it's the 𝘗𝘢. I could have sworn he was
the actual
that
𝘗𝘢.
is,
okay, because Newt Rockney I thought was the coach.
Yeah, he is the big coach, but it shows me in my Notre Dame history. I get them confused. But I thought the 𝘗𝘢 was a football player, like some great.
I thought he was too. I've seen Newt Rockney, but it was like years and years ago.
I have a question from the chat room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Throw it right
Sky
out there.
would like to know, Kat, have you ever really got afraid?
Have I ever really? Okay, when I thought I was going to get attacked by a raccoon in Black Moon Manor, I was afraid. There are
what
parts.
were you doing to a raccoon to tick it off?
I'm not just doing nothing, staying there, listening for EVPs or whatnot. I don't know if it's a rabid raccoon. It doesn't take much to make it mad, but oh man, I'm not really afraid of spirits or ghosts. I've seen enough of them in my lifetime to just accept them and move on. I've had shower curtains open up at me, not while I was using the shower, Jeffrey. I was standing in the restroom
Jeffrey, she pointed you out. What's up with that?
Straight out.
You were singled out, buddy.
He said. But at any rate, I've had shower curtains open up on me with no one there. It's let's see. I've stood on a Civil War soldier's foot, stepped on it by accident, and that's oops, yeah.
A ghost, or was it just a statue?
It was a ghost. It was a ghost.
And where was this at?
This is in Cemetery X, which is in Owen County, Indiana, and it's part of the book. It's one of the last entries. It's called Going Ghost. Well, it's not Going Ghost Hunting, but it's in that chapter.
Right.
And it's called Spook Smells and Odd Sensations, which can be taken way out of context. But at any rate, it's ghost hunting with Indiana Ghost Trackers Bloomington. And basically, this is an old cemetery that was around and established in the 1850s. They have found many Native American, Miami Indian flagstones in the cemetery while they've been expanding it to fit people to bury them. There is a Civil War soldier from the Union side buried there. He was 19 years old when he passed away. He actually never saw battle. He passed away at one of the forts before he could be dispatched. And I believe I stepped on his foot.
Wow.
Basically,
after a fashion, he was already dispatched.
I guess so. But anyway,
I'm still trying to figure out how you got into the shower conversation, Jeff.
I'm still wondering that myself.
What's up? What are you holding out? You holding out on this?
And I'm blushing over here. But at any rate, with this, we were doing an EVP session, and do I need to explain what EVP means?
No.
Okay.
No.
So making sure with the group, and there was 13 of us, and there was a man who was leading the investigation. His name was Bill. And to my left was my friend Lisa. And we were doing an EVP session with a K2 meter, and I have never seen a K2 meter actually react in correct correspondence to the questions being asked, except for at this time. There was absolutely no electricity. We were in the middle of nowhere. We could hear coyotes around us. That was when I was scared too. And
by what?
Yeah,
the coyotes.
But I don't want to be coyote food. And
coyotes are scavengers. They don't do anything. I mean, I used to have them by where I lived in Hollywood. They were up in the hills. You could hear them yipping away.
I know they like to snatch small dogs around here in Cincinnati.
No, they did that in Sherman Oaks too, unfortunately.
Yeah. But at any rate, we were doing an EVP session, asking questions. A few of the members, 2 of them, Bill included, had been to this particular cemetery multiple times. He had been there 5 times. Another member had been there 3 times. And we went around the circle asking the spirit who was speaking to us how many times each person had been there. And when it was Bill's turn, it flashed 5 times, but everyone else had flashed none except for Melanie, who had been there 3 times. And we were getting a lot of good responses, and eventually it faded, and then it got really cold. And that's not really uncommon. It's hilly in this part of Indiana. You get fog settling down, but it got really, really cold. And I shifted my weight from my left foot to my right foot, and I expected to sink down into the ground because there was a lot of molehills there. Instead, I hit something hard, which hadn't been there when I had adjusted my weight before. And I looked down, and there is a leather boot, and a blue cotton pant leg. And it's hard, and I look up to Bill, and I say, "Will you please take a picture of my leg?" And he looks down, takes a picture, and there's a gray mist in the photo. Could it be fog? Maybe, but it was just very strange looking down and seeing a leather boot underneath my heel.
Interesting.
Yeah, that would be. Yes.
And I noticed people in the chat room were wondering why I was in the shower.
maybe they don't.
And
what Jeffrey was doing there.
About 15 other people.
We are coming up again for another break. The night is just flying by, and of course I still have a ton of questions, and I'm sure you guys do too. I think we'll jump out. I do want to remind everybody that right after our show, stay tuned, because you'll have Joe and Tara with Visions Radio coming up right after ours, and they have a great show too, so stick around for that also. So I think what we'll do is we'll jump out and take a quick break, and be right back shortly with our guest, Kat Klockow. And yeah, that's right. Go ahead and laugh.
I didn't laugh.
Yeah, you was trying.
People have told me I'm very trying.
If I don't mess up at least once a night, something's wrong. So, Jeff, why don't you take us out this time?
Well, I'll have some pepper steak, steamed rice, and soy. Oh wait, that's the wrong takeout.
That's the wrong takeout. Yes.
That's right. Yeah. We'll be right back with the Paranormal View after some random music selections and/or quirky paranormal Para-X promos.
Very good. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. I want to thank everybody tonight for being here from around the world. We have reached out everywhere tonight. And if for some reason you're not here in the chat room with all these wonderful people, come over to para-x.com, click on live chat, and you'll be right in here with all of us. And you'll be able to private chat questions to me or Jeff or Craig, and ask them about Kat. So, great guest tonight. I want to thank her for being on with us too. And time is just jumping right on by. We're down to the last about 40 minutes. So let's jump right on back in here. Have you guys got any questions from the chat room, or can we just jump right into these other topics here?
I'm just going to throw a quick curveball at Kat.
Okay.
Kat, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, this is a non-paranormal question. It's from my son, who's in the chat room. You are a Blink-182 fan, is that not correct?
Yeah, I like them.
Who's your favorite member, and what's your favorite song?
Oh, man. Yeah, this is a curveball. Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, my favorite album is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, if that helps.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge. Anyway.
So actually, I have a question. Apart from being when you're being stalked by raccoons and coyotes, what has been the scariest place to which you've been?
The scariest place?
Yeah.
Oh,
that hasn't had raccoons and coyotes.
Or other types of animals.
Wildlife.
Yeah, wildlife. I think the toilet room of Mansfield Reformatory. And I don't consider myself a sensitive, a psychic, any of those extrasensory perception people. But I remember I walked into the toilet room just because there's lots and lots of urinals and toilets on display in this particular room at Mansfield. And I was just like, wow, that's really cool. I'm easily amused. Let's just be honest here. You see a few hundred of these just stacked up in a room. You're like, wow, that's interesting. And I got the weirdest electrical charge, like I wasn't supposed to be in this room. And it kind of freaked me out. It was still daylight out. I was with another person, and we beelined it out of there and met up with the rest of our friends in the community room. So that was probably the scariest, I guess you can say, place I've been.
Well, now, one of the other places that you had in your book was called the Tunnelton Lights.
Mm-hmm.
and I assume that deals with a train.
Yes, it does. And I will say, this is one of the places I did not go to because it's illegal to do so.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, it's a live train tunnel owned by CSX.
So it's still in use today?
Yeah, it's still in use, and it's very dangerous to visit. It is one of the longest continuous train tunnels in the United States. It's 1,750 feet long, and it was built in 1857. And your only way to save yourself if you happen to be in this tunnel and a train comes through is dead men's niches that are carved every 5 feet along the walls. The problem with this particular tunnel is, depending on the speed that the train is going through, and usually they're plowing through that thing pretty quick, you can get sucked underneath the train if you're not in one of these niches bracing for the pressure change. And many people have died accidentally this way, usually CSX workers. But I don't advise people going there because I don't really want a repeat of the man who accidentally got hit by a train in South Carolina a year and a half ago, so who was a ghost hunter. So, any rate,
the tunnel. To the point you're investigating ghost investigators.
Yeah,
Ghosts.
really, yeah. At any rate, the Tunnelton Tunnel is, well, railroads in Indiana were the livelihood for a lot of people in the earlier days of our state, and the Tunnelton Tunnel was really important because of that. It connected the Ohio and Mississippi Railway to Indianapolis. And as I said earlier, it was built in 1857, but really the weird stuff happened around 1898 when a man named Dixon, who was the man who watched the lines going through the tunnel to make sure they were always clear of debris so a train wouldn't have an accident. Well, he happened to escort a young local lady, around the construction area when they were bricking the tunnel to make sure mud didn't come through. In 1898, it was still an earthen tunnel, and the Ohio and Mississippi Railway Company commissioned brickmen to lay bricks to keep the earth from falling onto the tracks. Well, the men that worked, the bricklayers, were not exactly the most savory type of characters. So Dixon, the railman, escorted her through the construction area. However, Dixon, when he came back to his post, was beaten to death in the tunnel. Yes. I guess that good deed went punished. But he has been seen walking through the tunnel with his lamp, like he is inspecting the railway line to this day by railway engineers going through, according to the newspapers I've read about this. There also are stories about teenagers, some to this day, playing chicken in the tunnel. There is no, since it's a freight line, it's not a commuter rail line, there's no set schedule known to the public when trains are going to go through. And some of the teenagers like to hang around and play chicken to keep themselves from being sucked under the train. Big man on the totem pole type of thing. And according to urban legend, a few times during the 60s and the 70s, some of these kids did not make it, and their shadow figures have been seen darting along the dead men's niches across the rails, scaring the engineers and the men who work on the tracks.
Wow.
Yeah, and will-o-wisps or foxfire, those strange floating orbs, have been seen going through the tunnel also at night by people who...
And it's a shame that you can't get in there to do investigations.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of the Moonville Tunnel.
Yes.
Here in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I think, isn't that a live tunnel too?
No, I don't think they use that one anymore.
Mm-hmm. Oh. But similar stories. You got the phantom railway man with the lantern, I think.
I have a question from the chat room. Sky wants to know if you have ever been to Gettysburg.
I have not. I've always wanted to, but I haven't.
There you go.
I think there's phenomenology convention going on next month there.
Right.
Yeah, that's I want to go to that, but it's a 8 to 10 hour drive, and I don't have any paranormal buddies to go with.
Okay, Kat, here's an open invitation. Anytime you want to go, I know all the hot spots down there.
Yay.
I will take. Just let me know.
Yeah,
I've been there.
they've done asked me to come too. So.
Yes, Henry.
Oh, cool. Thanks. That'd be awesome.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about this place called the 𝘗𝘗𝘳𝘢𝘍𝘍 Mansion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that used to be a doctor's office or something, or a hospital?
No, it wasn't. It's been a private residence, a furniture store, and today it's a lawyer's office. It also has been a fraternity house. Now, I think what you're thinking of is Phi Beta Kappa fraternity, who used to live in this house back in the 1940s, and then moved to what is known as the Good Doctor's House, which is now the Career Development Center, and he was a doctor that did
and
abortions.
They used to have operating rooms in there and all that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that would be the Career Development Center, which is a different house that's on the campus.
Well, now the Showers Mansion, what all took place in that?
This is probably one of the most interesting haunted houses anyone has ever written about. When it was a restaurant, which is back in the 70s up to 1992, lots of very strange things went on. One of the most common experiences would be that the staff would set out the tables for brunch the next day, and you'd have those water goblets. Sometimes the restaurant manager would come back around 10 a.m. to do any final checkups before opening the restaurant for breakfast, and they would find that the wine goblets or the water goblets would be crushed into a fine glass powder. But that would be all that was wrong, and it happened to all the tables in the restaurant. It's bizarre. Let's see. The other thing is a pair of twins, spectral twins, that have been said to haunt the stairwell and the second floor, and their voices have been captured on live radio before. Back in 1988, there was a radio host that was doing a Halloween special from the restaurant. He happened to fall asleep while he was off air, but he kept his recorders running, and they caught these little kids saying "Go Spot" and playing with a ball, but he was the only one in this building, which threw him for a loop when he went through his audio the next day. And one of my members actually at Indiana Ghost Trackers was listening to that particular radio show back in 1988. And he recalls it was really spooky, he said.
I have a question. It's come in from the chat room. It's from Karen. And she wants to know, because I guess she come in late and she don't know if you said, but do you know what the name of the little girl is supposed to be haunting the Crump?
She does not have a name. We can't confirm anybody who's actually died in the premises that would have been a female. She's supposed to be in her teens and maybe was an actress at one time. I'm going to say popular thought is that she was an actress that did plays there during the earlier part of the 20th century, passed away maybe later in life, and now her spirit is where she likes to be. Scaring ghost hunters. No,
Scaring ghost hunters, huh?
Yeah.
So I thought you said the name was Rachel.
That's the ghost at Whispers Estate.
Oh, okay. So they're two different. Oh, yeah. I thought you said Crump Theater at Whispers Estate, like
no. Sorry. Didn't mean to confuse anyone there. Whispers Estate is in Mitchell, Indiana, and it's actually been in a few different documentaries or TV shows. Most recently, it was on the Most Terrifying Places on Earth in America on the Travel Channel. I know.
I love that show.
Yeah, it was the October 8th episode. And during filming of that episode, when they were interviewing Van, who's the owner, one of the doors slammed shut while they were taping, and that's included in the episode. That particular house is also in Spooked Television Productions' Children of the Grave documentary, and
the Booth brothers, yeah.
Yeah, the Booth brothers, and also Ghost Stories 2 by Dan T. Hall. That documentary also has an investigation.
Yeah, Netflix has Ghost Stories 2 and 3, but they don't mention his name connected to those. They have other titles in which his name is connected, but not so much.
Dan?
Dan T. Hall. I checked. I do that.
It's all right. He's the one who produced and directed them. So.
And Crump Theater then is at Notre Dame.
No, Crump Theater's in Columbus, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I wrote the book,
I look forward to getting the book.
Yeah. When I wrote the book, I not only did I highlight Bloomington and Indiana University, but also places that are said to be haunted within about an hour's drive. And Columbus, Indiana is about 40 minutes away from Bloomington, and Mitchell's about an hour away. So.
Now, I had another question from Karen, and she wanted to know if you knew about the story about the old black man that is there in Crump Theater.
Yes, I know that story. I call him the man in the brown suit, but it is a spirit that lives up in the old segregated, live is a wrong word there, resides in the segregated section of the Crump Theater's auditorium. And
essentially the cheap seats?
Yeah, the cheap seats. And that part of the auditorium now is closed. It is now a storage room, and they usually keep it locked. But Lisa Bradley, who's one of my Indiana Ghost Tracker members, she's actually had her hair played with by this entity. She believes this entity played with her hair. And if you look on the MRIPA site for their Crump Theater, they have an awesome video of what looks like a man appearing in the seat and getting up and leaving. Wow. And a lot of people think that this is the man in the brown suit because
which group was that?
MRIPA, Midwest Researchers and Investigators of Paranormal Activity. Really long name. But I think I mentioned them earlier in the show.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Midwestern Researchers, Investigators of Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, yeah.
They just want to take us off.
No. But yeah, they have probably some of the most compelling evidence collected about the spirit that resides in the Crump Theater. And when I was there investigating, and I think this is what you were referencing earlier in the show, my group, this was April of 2008 or 2009, sorry. I was there on a private ghost hunt, and my group was split up into two, and one was in the cellar and the other one, my group, was up in the auditorium, and we were not saying a word. And we get a walkie-talkie radio up from the cellar group going, "Hey, stop banging on the stage. We can hear you walking around. You're so noisy." And we radio back to them saying, "We're not making a sound." So whatever they were hearing, they were only hearing. And we were staring at the stage.
And couldn't see nothing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No. I want to acknowledge that we have a large audience listening tonight from the United States, Finland, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, and Canada. So welcome everybody for listening tonight. Also, don't forget to stay tuned for after our show to Joe and Tara on Visions Radio. Like I say, our time's running down. We got about 20 minutes left, and there's a couple other things I'd like to get into. Real quick, let's talk a little bit about this place called the Story Inn.
Yeah. Okay. The Story Inn was actually featured, and I learned this when I was interviewing the owner, Rick Hofstetter. It's featured in an episode of Psychic Kids, and I wrote down the episode. I can't remember. I don't know what season it's in, but they had just finished filming the day before I went to visit or to interview the owner at the Story Inn. So that's an interesting note there. Story Inn, fantastic place. If anyone lives in Indiana or within driving distance of Story, Indiana, the Story Inn is the actual entire village of Story, Indiana. It is a 19th century logging community that is pristinely restored, and up until the 1976 had no electricity. It was basically the 20th century just kind of skipped over this entire logging community. And Story Inn is off of Highway 46, which is almost in the heart of Indiana, central Indiana. And there is a lot of virgin hardwood trees there, and the entire Brown County area used to be a logging community. And then the Great Depression hit, and everyone moved out. About 80% of this county now is part of the Hoosier National Forest. The Story Inn in Story, Indiana, is the only remaining village from this logging time of Indiana's history. And it was started in 1850s by Dr. George Story and his first wife. And naturally, if there's a doctor somewhere who is a medical doctor, you're going to get a community around him because they were so scarce back in the pioneering days. The original house, Dr. Story's house, is where the owners of Story Inn now live, and it, according to Rick Hofstetter, is haunted. There's lots of activity there, but no one's allowed to ghost hunt there. Most of the activity is either in the general store, and for those who actually have the book, if you flip the cover, the back cover is actually the Story Inn's general store. And in the general store, there's a woman who's known as the Woman in Blue. She actually isn't a blue apparition. She seems to appear whenever somebody turns on this blue glass light. And she has been photographed, I think, in 2003, looking out of her bedroom window. People have woken up to see her standing at the end of the bed. She makes the room very cold.
She would help in the summer.
Yeah, in the summer too. It's an old building, but at any rate, she doesn't seem to do anything to scare anyone. She just kind of appears like she's checking up on the old general store, and then she just kind of fades away. However, the kitchen of the general store, which I should say actually is a gourmet restaurant, the second floor has 4 hotel rooms. The first floor is a gourmet restaurant, and the basement has a good hamburger restaurant, actually, which I ate at. And then there's a mill room, a mill building, the old barn, and there's several other old story buildings, and those are individual suites for the inn. And they have hot tub jacuzzis, and a lot of people honeymoon at this particular hotel inn. But at any rate, the kitchen staff have reported a lot of odd goings on in there. One person got pinched on the butt while they were cooking. Another one had a plate of spaghetti thrown at them by invisible hands. And a third cook or chef had the door just burst open on him as he was cooking and just slammed so hard against the wall it left a dent. But there was no one on the other side of the door to cause that violent burst of energy. So that's just in the general store. Actually, the most haunted room in that particular building would be the Morrison Kelly room. It has a lot of voices, people walking, pacing through the room, just electrical disturbances, which this particular building has been wired for modern electricity, so that doesn't really make sense. Like, I can make sense. My house is 103 years old. It still has some knob and tube wiring. Sometimes the lighting gets funky. It's an old house. I expect that, but not the Story Inn. It's 21st century, although the exterior is very much 19th century. The old barn outside is really creepy. People have seen apparitions walking to and fro from there. And there's also a headstone that was used to weigh down one of the hay storage containers. I guess to keep it from getting infested too quickly, they used to raise hay up in barns, or it was a counterweight anyway. They were using a headstone as a counterweight, and they don't know where this headstone belongs, but there is a small cemetery located in the brush in between Doc Story's house and the general store.
With one really ticked off ghost in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
Now, since our time is going by real quick, there's a couple other things I wanted to get some questions on and let you talk about for a few minutes before we start actually winding down. You spent some time in Japan.
Yes.
So one of my questions with that is, what are some of the paranormal hotspots in Japan, and do they have paranormal groups over there?
They don't have paranormal groups as much as we do in America, like people that go out to search in private residences. However, in Kyoto, they do have a paranormal archive institute and folklore studies. And I can't remember their entire name right now. It's very long. But they actually do look into parapsychology and reports of the paranormal within the entire country.
Some of the videos of Japan ghosts and such on YouTube are like just insane. Some of them are just weird.
Well, okay. I've been to the Aokigahara, which is the Gesundheit. It's known as the Sea of Trees, and it's at the base of Mount Fuji. And I actually was there 3 months ago. And this is the place that was highlighted on Destination Truth, where people go from Tokyo or Nagoya, those are the two largest cities near Mount Fuji, to go commit suicide, because you literally cannot find your way through this sea of trees. It's all tall pine, but once you get in there, you lose your direction real quick because it's all dark and it's just all chilly. You can't see the sun. And they post up signs pleading to people to not commit suicide in the forest. And I did manage to catch a video as I drove by with my friend, these large signs pleading from the local cities not to visit the Sea of Trees for the intent to die in them. And people will camp out, and guns are illegal in the country, so they buy really big knives, and at least 50 people a year are found in tents with who have passed away due to knife wounds. A lot of people do suicide packs there too.
Harikiri.
Yeah.
Seppuku.
Yeah. Not quite. I don't think they're honorable samurai, but anyway. Another place is the Tobu Cliffs, which are at the north. If you think the main island is called Honshu. And Mount Fuji is on the southern side of the island. The Tobu Cliffs are on the northern end of the island, and in the Sea of Japan, facing Korea. And I got my peanut gallery back here talking too. I visited this place, and I know I've seen videos on YouTube that people have said are ghosts jumping off the cliff. I think everyone's seen that picture of like two boys that are taking video camera, and then in the background you see a man jumping off. These cliffs are really terrifying when you're actually standing at them, looking at the sea, and it's running at you, and it's quite energizing experience. But a lot of the video clips you see coming from Japan are actually from the Obon time, which is literally I guess you can translate it to the time when they respect the dead. It's like their Halloween. It's all their paranormal TV specials, and people in Japan or Korea are taking these TV specials off from the TV and putting them on the internet and passing them off as real ghost stories, when in reality they're just urban legends that have been dramatized and put on the TV for entertainment during their Halloween season.
Like the girl in the mirror thing?
Yeah, or the stories of oh, the girl crawling out of the TV. There's ghost stories that are quite based off of the Ring story.
Right.
I could go on for another 2 hours about Japanese ghosts, but
Well, that's our next topic for the next time you're our guest.
oh yeah, I can tell you all about how the Ring, the backstory between the Ring and Ju-on and a lot of those Japanese horror flicks. There are actual urban legends and ghost stories that go along with all of them. And the ones I find the most fun I call them toilet terrors. They're haunted school kids' bathrooms. And they have the weirdest ghosts coming out of their toilets in that country. I'm like, what the heck are you people thinking? Oh, which does remind me, for the people that were there in your chat room 2 weeks ago when I was in part of your chat room, I didn't get to explain the blonde coming out of the toilet. Because I can't type that fast.
The blonde coming out
of the toilet. It is a Brazilian urban legend. And it works a lot like Bloody Mary. And I challenge your listeners to do this right now. And you go to your toilet, you cuss at it, and you flush it 3 times. And this blonde ghost is supposed to come out of the toilet bowl and kill you. That is the ghost story.
Okay.
Yeah. It is crazy. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what are those Brazilians thinking of? Oh, wait, they came with the Brazilian wax, too. So,
But you have to curse in Brazilian. Portuguese.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you just Google it, just Google the blonde in the toilet urban legend. Make sure you add urban legend at the end, or you get some not child-friendly sites. They give it to you in Portuguese, too, what you're supposed to say. But
it's time to run a short, Kat. Could you tell us a little bit about your web comics?
Okay, yeah. Okay. Ghost stories, urban legends get a little bit morbid, and to keep myself happy and in the right state of mind when going off gallivanting for ghosts, I draw comics as a hobby. And I like the Blondie Mary, by the way, in the chat room. And I call it my day job, and ghost hunting's my night job.
Did I get lost, or did everyone else?
No, everybody else here.
Yeah, we're all here.
Hello?
Yeah, everybody's still on.
Yeah.
Right, Craig?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know. Something said there was a problem, but I don't see what it is.
Maybe I'm talking
Jeff?
too fast?
No.
At
Jeff?
any rate, what I'm doing in between publishing books from Schiffer is I'm working on a graphic novel series about a cynic to ghost hunting who dies, barters her way back to life to go ghost hunting with paranormal truth. That is, in a nutshell, the plot of the story. And I think it focuses a lot on ghost hunting and the entire community that the paranormal community is. And I hope to have it out later this year.
I fell out of the call there for a few moments. I missed a lot of that. So
it come up and said it was trying to automatically get you back on. That's why I didn't call. I was waiting for a second. Our time is running right on by, and because we have a show on after hours, we don't want to try and run over. So what I'm going to do is give you a chance to tell everybody where your website is, where you can get your books, contact you, Facebook, whatever.
Okay. Well, first off, at Facebook, you can find me at Facebook.com/Kat Klockow. And please friend me. I like to talk to everyone. My website is urbanlegendsdetective.com, and it is always updated with what I'm up to and what kind of projects I'm doing and fun photos and odds and ends. I'll be at the Paranormal Fest 2011 at the W.G. Smith Auditorium February 19th with special guest Keith Age and Sean Burris from Extreme Paranormal and Ghost Man and Demon Hunter radio show, and Dan Hall again, who did the documentary films that I was a member of. And you can buy Haunted Hoosier Halls, Indiana University by Schiffer Publishing, written by me, on Amazon.com. Or if you're in Indiana, you can probably go over to any Borders or Barnes & Noble's bookstores and find it.
Very good.
Or wait forever on Amazon. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait for it on
I
Amazon.
won't get into that, but
Now, I want you to stay on, Kat, after we get off, and we'll chat with you a little bit and talk to you.
Sure thing.
Jeff, I want you to give out your site addresses and everything, because Jeff does a good job with the show and giving a little thing about it on his site. So why don't you give that out to everybody?
Well, it's jeffgould.net, which is spelled GEOFFGOULD.net. And I have the, of course, I don't have the thing in my, and if you look for the page on Paranormal View, it's jeffgould.net /2011 _ Paranormal View _ cohosting.htm. I should probably make a shorter URL for that. And that will also give you what guests we've had on, embedded podcasts, as well as on the paranormalview.com, where the podcast can be listened to and downloaded as well when they get uploaded by our own Henry. Yay!
And if you're looking to listen to our podcasts, you can go to theparanormalview.com. You can listen to our podcasts from there, or you can go up to the on-demand button at the top of the chat room, and you can go down and find the Paranormal View there and listen to them. Or you can go to Podomatic and look up the Paranormal View, and you'll be able to listen to all our podcasts. Also, if you go go ahead.
It's actually the paranormalview.podomatic.com.
Right. And if you go
Jeff, you are the quickest person I have ever seen on a computer.
Jeff is good.
You're the Flash.
If you go to our website, there's a big fan there. If you want to be a fan, and give us some feedback. Tell us how you like the show and what you think of it and everything. And also remember that in a week or two, we'll be having a new segment on the show, and it'll be featuring a different paranormal group every week. So stay tuned for that, and we will be doing that also. It's been a great show tonight. Lots of people from everywhere, and I want to thank everybody for listening, no matter where you've been. And next week, I want to bring this up real quick. Like, our guests next week is Brian and Terry Seach, and they're with the Center for Unexplained Events and the Pennsylvania MUFON directors. So that ought to be a real great show with that. So we're going to be jumping off here, and stay tuned, because Joe and Tara with Visions Radio will be coming up, and you guys can enjoy that show too. You guys got anything you want to throw in real quick?
I was going to say that I try and keep as updated as possible. Also on another page on my site, jeffgould.net /calendar.htm. And that's where you can just click on Paranormal View. It'll say what guests we have that night and the link to the chat room and such like that.
Great. Well, we're going to jump off. We'll be back next week at the same time. So everybody drop by and see us again. This is Henry Foister.
Craig Rupp.
Jeff Gould here.
And we'll see you next week.
Night, everyone. Have a great night.
Night, everybody.
Have a great Super Bowl commercial day.
We're leaving. Paranormal View. Come back and visit us again if you dare. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network. The Paranormal View.